This article describes the cave in Jerusalem. For the series of novels by Jack Chalker, see Well World. The Well of Souls, sometimes translated Pit of Souls, Cave of Spirits, or Well of Spirits, is a partly natural, partly man-made cave located inside the foundation stone under the Dome of the Rock shrine in Jerusalem. The name derives from a medieval Islamic legend that at this place the spirits of the dead can be heard awaiting Judgment Day. The site has never been subject to an archaeological investigation, and political and diplomatic sensitivities preclude this for the foreseeable future. History and context. The Dome of the Rock, called Qubbat as-Sakra in Arabic and Kipput ha-Salah in Hebrew, is an early medieval Muslim shrine on Temple Mount, known as Ha-Habayeth in Hebrew, and as the Haram ash-Sharif in Arabic. The exposed bedrock directly under the dome, known as the foundation stone, is the spot upon which Jewish tradition says Abraham prepared to sacrifice his son Isaac, and from which Islamic tradition also indicates Muhammad ascended to heaven. The stone, known as Even Hashatir in Hebrew and Es-Sakra in Arabic, is considered the holiest site in Judaism and the third holiest in Islam. Both Jewish and Muslim traditions relate to what may lie beneath the foundation stone. The earliest of them found in the Talmud in the former, and understood to date to the 12th and 13th centuries in the latter. The Talmud indicates that the stone marks the center of the world and serves as a cover for the abyss containing the raging waters of the flood. The cave was venerated as early as 902 according to Ibn al-Faqih. Muslim tradition likewise places it at the center of the world and over a bottomless pit with the flowing waters of paradise underneath. A palm tree is said to grow out of the river of paradise here to support the stone. Noah is said to have landed here after the flood. The souls of the dead are said to be audible here as they await the last judgment. The foundation stone and its cave entered fully into the Christian tradition after the Crusaders recaptured Jerusalem in 1099. These Europeans converted the Dome of the Rock into a church, calling it the Templum Domini. They made many radical physical changes to the site at this time, including cutting away much of the rock to make staircases and paving the stone over with marble slabs. They certainly enlarged the main entrance of the cave and probably are also responsible for creating the shaft ascending from the center of the chamber. The Crusaders called the cave the Holy of Holies, and venerated it as the site of the announcement of John the Baptist's birth. In 1871, Jerusalem was visited by the explorer and Arabist Sir Richard Francis Burton. Lady Burton later described their exploration of the Well of Souls as tourists. A flight of 15 steps takes us into the cave under this rock. This feature has been immensely written about. I shall content myself with saying that Captain Burton holds it to be the original granary of the corn threshed, or rather trodden out, upon the plain on either side, and winnowed from the rock. If the latter prove to be the great altar of sacrifice, the cave will be the cistern for the blood which ran off by the Bir el-Awwar into the valley of Hinnom. My husband did his best to procure the opening of the hollow-sounding slab in the center, but the time has not yet come. The more ignorant Muslims believe that the Sakra is suspended in the air, and its only support is a palm tree, held by the mothers of the two greatest prophets, Muhammad and Abraham. The most projecting point is called the tongue, because when Omar thought he had discovered the stone which was Jacob's pillar in his vision at Bethel, he exclaimed, "Assalamu alaikum," and the stone replied, "Alaikum assalam, wa rahmatullahi." The sheikhs of the mosque explained everything to us, even the minutest trifle, and showed us the places where Solomon prayed, and also David, and where Abraham and Elijah and Muhammad met on the occasion of his night flight upon El-Barak. They also made an echo for us, and told us that there was a hollow place beneath the Bir el-Awwar before mentioned, where every Friday the departed souls come to adore Allah. Description and circumstances. The entrance to the cave is at the southeast angle of the foundation stone, beside the southeast pier of the Dome of the Rock shrine. Here a set of 16 new marble steps descend through a cut passage thought to date to Crusader times. On the way down, bedrock masses project in towards the stair. The one to the right is called the tongue. To the left as one descends is a prayer niche dedicated to David with a trefoil arch supported by miniature marble twisted rope columns. To the right is a shallower, but ornately decorated, prayer niche dedicated to Solomon. This mihrab is certainly one of the oldest in the world, considered to date at least back to the late 9th century. The cave chamber is roughly square, about 6 meters on a side, and ranges from 1.5 to 2.5 meters high. To the north is a small shrine dedicated to Abraham, and to the northwest another dedicated to Al-Qadir. The chamber is supplied with electric lighting and fans. The shaft at the center of the ceiling is a shaft, 0.46 meter in diameter, which penetrates 1.7 meters up to the surface of the stone above. The ceiling of the cave appears natural, while the floor has been long ago paved with marble and carpeted over. Literature. The earliest reference to a pierced rock may be that in the Itinerarium Berdigalents by the anonymous pilgrim of Bordeaux, who visited Jerusalem in 333 AD. References to the Well of Souls under the foundation stone date back at least to the 10th century Persian writer Ibn al-Faqih, who mentions it as an Islamic sacred site. The 11th century Persian writer and traveler Nazir-i Khushro related the traditional story of the origin of the cave in his classic travelogue, Sofarnama. They say that on the night of his ascension into heaven the Prophet, peace and blessing be upon him, prayed first at the dome of the rock, laying his hand upon the rock. As he went out, the rock, to do him honor, rose up, but he laid his hand on it to keep it in its place and firmly fixed it there. But by reason of this rising up, it is even to this present day partly detached from the ground beneath. The 16th century Rabbi David ben Solomon ibn Abi Zimra attested to the existence of a cave found under the dome of the rock and known as the Well of Souls. The definitive modern review of the Well of Souls, along with other underground openings beneath the Temple Mount, is in Simon Gibson and David Jacobson's Below the Temple Mount in Jerusalem, a source book on the cisterns, subterranean chambers and conduits of the Haram al-Sharif.